Good morning and welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Thursday the 16th of January. So looking at the euro dollar, and in fact before I look at the euro dollar, let's just look at the key news events this morning and today. This morning, well, there's very little, to be fair. There's a few sort of sub numbers that may be coming out, and they're coming out, but we've got the Bank of England credit conditions survey at 9:30, which is relatively low key, to be fair. More importantly, then early afternoon ECB monetary policy meeting accounts. So we'll see the minutes of that meeting. Also, more important, I think, is the core retail sales in the US. We've seen quite a lot of negative numbers coming through performing. See how the public are handling things will be interesting here. Expected to come out then at 1:30. Core retail sales is the one to be looking at. The ECB President Lagardes is speaking at 6 p.m. this evening. Will not affect us during our normal day trading period, but is there, and it may affect any overnight trades, but as I say, that's for later. So that's it for today in terms of news. Let's have a look at the technicals then. Well, euro is taking its time but gradually pushing its way back up. We're seeing an overall weakness in the dollar, and well, we're seeing that, as I say, coming through the markets, and it's sort of benefited the euro, and some people sort of wondering why the euro is doing any good at all when some of the numbers, I mean, you've seen the German GDP figures, etc., coming out pretty poorly, but it just seems that at the moment the focus is on the dollar and not the euro. For a lot of traders, and the euro continues to look like it wants to push up further. The more I look at this and across these markets, we seem to get these dips every day. Came in yesterday quite sort of 8 o'clock, it just popped through there, but eventually turned round and off it went again. We had it the day before, it just ran through a little bit later into the afternoon but pushed back, and I just get the feeling technically it just looks like it will continue pushing in that way. Just let it sort itself out. It hasn't quite caught its pivot this morning yet. Coming through that, maybe back to the 50 even, it might do. We'll see. There is some support off that weekly pivot at 11:37 otherwise if it does break through, but I am looking really for a continuation at the moment to the upside. Looking at the pound, let's just switch into the pound. Well, the pound was very slow over the last 2 days, or has been slow over the last 2 days. Both days ended up slightly more positive than where it started, but it's not necessarily looking in the best of shapes. We do have the weekly pivot above us, and it may up here at 130.95, may work its way back towards that today, tomorrow, at some stage anyway. I must admit, yesterday I was really thinking and still looking on the more downside on this, but it seems to be grinding out a bit of a bottom here at the moment. It's a bit more defined as of yesterday, with a high coming in, breaking previous high, running into the R1 there late evening. We have got an untouched daily pivot at the moment though. Would prefer to see that ticked off before I went long. So we'll just watch that, see if it breaks through this 21. It sold off quite too sharply yesterday for me, too early, went off, but eventually well, we saw this correction. Now we'll just see how it runs today, if it can sort of do similar. So I'm waiting for both the euro and the pound to really be coming off, ticking off their daily pivots before I look at the long side. Okay, dollar yen. So it's very small, tight ranges at the moment, still continuing in that way. I still wonder if we'll see a bigger correction off this R2, although with the Trump signing things, it's taken the risk away, or reduced the risk, so risk is back on into the trading, and well, we're seeing the yen selling a little bit, but it's hardly anything significant. It's I mean, yesterday's range so tight. Well, yeah, not much there for day trades for me there. Aussie dollar, The Aussie dollar, well, the Aussie dollar, it's you just look at these days. You get one decent day, and then the rest of the days are dojis, or well, mainly dojis, shooting stars. It's not really that convincing for me. There's certainly a lack of certainty around this. I was looking yesterday, mentioned the way it'd been pushing against that 50 MA. Didn't really, it eventually broke. Didn't really push far, and to me, it's still best left alone. At some point, it will probably go like the clappers, but the ranges are tight, and so the opportunity is not particularly good there. Canadian dollar, again, well, eventually sold off. I was looking at it earlier in the morning, and it looked like it was going to sell off. It rallied, and then broke later in the day there. So we saw the US dollar weakening later in the afternoon. It eventually works its way through to the Canadian dollar there, but looking bitty still in this sort of bigger range. Maybe well, if it touched its daily pivot there, for me, then it becomes more. If it starts rolling over, more potential for downside. But it's not one of my day trading currencies. And finally, New Zealand dollar. New Zealand dollar finally getting a bit of a move back here. I was hoping it was going to come back for the 50 because I was looking to buy it off the 50, but it is pushing, looking like it's half decent. It may give an opportunity for me on a more longer term trade, more of a long-term swing to be buying back in. I did like it for a long time, but it was costly to hold, particularly when it's going against you. I was waiting to see it came back to the 50, so I may buy back into that. We'll see how it runs with that, but it's had a decent retrace over this bigger movement, but I need just to be patient on that yet. So far, as of yet. Right, okay, that is it. It's 10 minutes past 8. I wish you a great day. Bye for now.